last time. Hopefully, yeah. Do let me know if you guys can and hear properly, basically. And I'll also be checking the chat. Yeah. So today's plan is actually to work on Obsidian material. I haven't really made any Obsidian before, so that should be fun. I have a slight idea on how I want to tackle it, but not really what to say. Not really confident enough, I guess, that I mean, I'm pretty sure like the most time I spend, it'll get better. But for now, I think with a clean mind, I want to work on Obsidian. So we'll start with setting up lights first because Obsidian is a volcanic glass material. So for glass, the way you light it is you have to light the surroundings so that the reflection will light the glass itself. So yeah, it's all in the reflections. So this should be interesting. Let's see. Let's wait for a couple of people. Uh, because I don't want to feel like I'm talking to a void right now. But yeah, anyway. Let's see. Um, I'll start gathering images online. Hello, hello. Hello, Curtis. Oh wow, this is awesome. How you doing? Hey to Obsidian. Hey man. Hey Alexander. Really nice seeing you here. Can't believe Curtis is here watching. Do you wanna jump in, Curtis? Like, are you free? I don't mind you having on the stream. Uh, yeah, let's I'm trying to gather some materials online, so like some references. That'll be fun. Uh, Obsidian is, yeah, let's see. Obsidian. I don't think you guys can see the screen, but I want to keep it that way just in case. There's some good looking Obsidian stuff online, I guess. The only problem is, oh yeah, save as. Let's save this. I'm doing some ecosystem, but let's just like, that's awesome. Yeah, cool. Let me quickly gather that image onto this place. I think I've downloaded that. Whew, that's a cool looking rock. Lots and lots of detail, and this should be really fun to make. There's a lot of chipping in the edges. There's also a little bit of iridescence. I don't know if I'll tackle that, but that should be fun. What else? Let's gather more references. Like, the more references we have, the better it is. The shape itself seems pretty nice, but I have save image. There's another reference that I found just now. That is this one. I really like how there is some radial stuff going on. You might see this, but let's see what else can we do with this one. Hey guys, what's up? What's up? Today's going to be a fun stream. I'm trying to recreate Obsidian. Not recreate, like I'm trying to create. I haven't really done Obsidian before. So let's quickly start by lighting the scene. I have a lighting workspace. I like to work in this. I think I should also, yeah, that's good. Let's add, I don't know why I'm doing this. It's better if we have strs. Let's see. And the vector, let's give a mapping node. And Uh, yeah, why did that happen? And for vector, we have to give, please don't ask me why I'm doing this. Let's do texture coordinate UVs or generated. It's probably generated, right? Yeah, there you go. I don't know why I'm using this. Little bit lazier, but that's fine. Let's go to the procedural shading workspace quickly. Go to the world settings. This is all cool, except I don't want any colored light. So the way we can remove colored light is adding a HSV node right before this and bringing down the saturation. Now we have just white light. White light is good for getting realistic color values. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. And I like one side is shadow and one side is, lit up. So let's do transparent as well. I'm gonna quickly save this. Let's put this day 2. Okay, I saved the file as well. If you have any questions, do let me know. Feel feel free to post any questions. I'll try to answer as many as possible. Let's quickly add the material. Let's create a new one. First of all, immediately when you're doing material stuff, I need to check all the settings. I'm going to change the feature set to experimental, check on adaptive subdivisions. In the material options, I'm going to go displacement and bump. This will allow me to actually use true displacement instead of just bump. I'm going to keep the principal shader, but instead first let's use a diffuse shader. And let's add a displacement node. Connect the displacement to displacement. First of all, we can tell, right? Like it's sort of a Voronoi looking pattern. Let's also look at some 3D materials that people have done. Like, I'll try to find some good stuff. Let's go to ArtStation. I'll go to ArtStation. I'll just type Obsidian and see what people have made. I mean, that'll give me like a hope that, we can actually generate good looking, Obsidian stuff. There's some really amazing looking ones in ArtStation, especially, oh wow, this is beautiful. Okay, let's see. I think they have done some pretty, oh, this is Daniel Tiger. Of course, Daniel is a goat when it comes to stuff like this, so there's no question at all. Um, I'm gonna put 2 more reference images that I found. And I have to tell you guys, there are some amazing people out there, like Daniel Tiger. He's probably the best substance designer material artist out there, at least like according to me. The reason being, he's also an amazing teacher. I learned a lot of material stuff from Daniel Tiger from his courses. And look at this beautiful material. Wow. Replicating this would be, oh god, it'll be amazing if I can pull this off. But what else do we have? We have this as a real value material, and also we have this. This is a good start to get the surface details, I feel. Yeah, I think we have a good reference so far. Let me also find something else. There's another render. I hope I hope I can do something like this, but I don't think it's possible in Blender. But we can try to push it as much as possible. Let me quickly bring another reference for the sake of yeah. This is another one. We have to like credit all these people. So once I'm done, I'll try to put the links in the description. So if you guys want to support them, it'll be amazing. For now, let me quickly post the ArtStation links in the live stream chat. So here's here is one render that I find, and there's another one as well. Let me quickly post another link. These are the two reference images that I feel I'm really looking forward to. I hope this goes well, but yeah, let's just jump into it. I'm gonna close all the stuff. There's also another render. I'm posting this in the chat because I can come back and copy them again so that I can put this. Okay, let's do this. So immediately I can tell there's a lot of noisy stuff. But if you look at this one, that is definitely Voronoi. So we have to start with Voronoi, I feel. And every cell has a different, direction as well. So let's quickly just try to get the displacement. So let's add a Voronoi. So, Voronoi. And let's plug this directly to the height. Immediately, we have it. I'm actually never played with, the detail, but with low roughness, I think it should add a little bit of, that one. But yeah, let's quickly add a UV map. One other thing about this particular setup, it already looks amazing because like the UV map is stretched. The way I want to fix that is select everything, scale X2. Now we'll get the true I mean, is it working? Not sure. Let's quickly add a, let's try object coordinates instead. The UV is not working, so object must be better because there won't be any stretching. Let's see. After this, let's scale this by 3 for now, and let's scale this down to a more realistic value. Let's do 0.2. I don't know about you guys, but then this looks a good start, right? Like it's a good start. Save the files immediately. But then one thing immediately that I find is like the edges are pretty sharp. I think it has to be sharp, but let's see what happens if we can smooth them. If it is smooth, that's how it looks. We can bring down the smoothness, I guess. I don't know, like definitely it has to be sharp, right? Like we don't want that to be smooth at all. Let's quickly give this a render and see if that helps to like, see how the true displacement is. Okay, definitely we need to go with non-smooth version, which is okay. So let's quickly go to F1. And immediately I want to distort this coordinate system because everything is super smooth. Like, everything is like straight lines. I don't know if you guys like the inner ones, but we can play around with that. And also quickly distort this. Let's use a noise texture. And let's use, shall I use object coordinates? Object coordinates is little, let's do this instead maybe. Five, 7 maybe. Generator seems to be the way to go, but I don't know. I like UV coordinates. UVs are the best. Even though this is procedural, I think let's do generated for now because we can scale them in X and Y direction, something like that, to make it a little bit more interesting as well. So yeah, let's do generated. So the way I'm going to distort this is using linear light, the best blending mode on the planet. No questions asked. You can fight me with that. Don't fight me, please. But that is probably my favorite blending mode. After overlay, yeah, overlay is pretty good too. Now we saw that everything is distorted, but this distortion is too high. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to 0.02. So there's just a slight amount of distortion. And let's quickly bring this back. And let's organize this, Control J for the frame and F2 for renaming stuff. Let's say base shape. Perfect. I don't want this end panel. And for the material itself, since it's dark, let's just go pretty dark. Except like, look at that. It's not what, let's do a glossy as well. Let's just see how glossy looks instead. Of course, because glossy means metal, right? Like, doesn't really work. I think we should do glass instead. Oh, wow. Never expected that to look that way. A little bit of roughness and bring down the value. I mean, it's definitely looking, but we can't see anything like expected though. But let's do a little bit of mix of both, maybe. And let's improve the lighting, of course. The way I'm going to do is I'm going to use area lamps, make it discs. Sorry if I'm not checking the chat. This should be fun. So let's bring this up, Control Z, and let's brighten this up by 300. Let's see it on a bigger screen. For now, for the sake of my sanity, let's just bring this all the way up to 1. Let's just work on the shape itself. So the next thing that I see is we have, these stretchy looking things along the surface. The way I'm going to do that is using position. This is like a really amazing node. What we can do with position is we can simply plug a noise texture into position. There we go. I don't know if, sorry, I might have done a big mistake. There you go. I don't know if you can see it, but the position value, let's do detail to 0 for now. I'll tell you why. Detail to 0 is fine. And let's take vector math and let's add our coordinates, which is, the distorted coordinates. Let's bring this down, Alt S, or else now we can do a, let's do subtract instead so that we'll do the position. Yeah. And let's scale this by the same value as this one. So let's add a value node. Let's change this to 7. Plug this in the scale and this one to the scale. So now we have coordinates in each cell. That's awesome. Yeah, I hope the magic works out today. So the other thing that I want to try is like, since like when I see like these are like, not real references. When I see some real references like this, there are some really radial looking patterns, like, circles. So I was thinking maybe I should try along those lines. The way I'm gonna do that is take this one and mix it with this one. So let's just use a gradient texture. Let's change this to spherical. You can see like it is looking as if it's a distance, but math subtract from 1, maybe, is it? This one and this one is identical, you see? So that was my plan actually. So to do this, instead of that, we can take this and plug this through a wave texture, maybe. Wave texture, let's do that. You have those circular looking rings, and of course distortion will make them that. And let's do, maybe let's not go too high with the detail. Let's go 3. And I want to like take a noise texture, plug this, so every noise is broken up, and then use that in the subtract instead to give that, and maybe wave texture will make it that. Okay, which is interesting. So let's do a map range. I'm just playing around here, so it's nothing. Let's do 0.9. See, to get that, even though this is like not really doing that, that should add a lot. So we can take this and we can simply add it on top of this, I think. So let's do a mix color, sorry. And the wave texture color is nothing but the same as the factor. So that is little, I don't really know why that is the case, but who cares? If you just look at the displacement, of course, we are not adding, we are just mixing. Add value has to be really tiny. Can you see it? Even that is a lot. So this is where I always ask the question, should I do displacement or should I do this in bump? Honestly, bump is totally fine. But since we have the computing power and we have the geometry, why not do displacement? That is what everyone, if everyone thinks that way, we can't optimize anything, honestly. Someone who abandoned work in the field and become a glass bowler. Oh wow. That's interesting. I think if Curtis is here, he might reply. I'll just quickly message him. There it is. Anyway, so let's quickly give this another render, but definitely this is a lot, so it's not that noisy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reduce the scale to 2, 3 maybe, not 3. Let's decrease the detail to 2. Let's look at this instead, and maybe distortion to 5. Yeah, that itself looks okay, but then I don't want that to happen continuously, because you can see like everything has, it's just here and there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate the noise texture and change this to maybe 3, unnormalize it, but I'm gonna clamp this. The way I'm gonna clamp it is using just add with 0, and I'm gonna mix this. I'll use this mix node instead. I never used float mix before, so this is interesting. Now if you look, it's only here and there, so okay, maybe not. Let's do color, I don't care. Let's do multiply. Look at that. So when you add stuff, this is how it'll look. So let's do a little bit more, like 1.15. I like that. What do you guys think? So we haven't really worked on the material yet, but this is good because we are only using 1 scale. So if I change this to 3 instead, it'll still look good. Like, I mean, it still feels the same as the Obsidian that we are working on. So the reason why, okay, let's also use the same scale in this as well. That's cool. Let's also look at what others have done. The lighting, they actually added the lighting on the surface and it looks beautiful. So let's change the lighting just a tiny bit. If Curtis is still here, what is the lighting shortcut that you use to point the light? Because I'm not able to Like, remember that. If anyone in the chat knows that shortcut, please let me know. It's been really, really interesting. Like, is it shift control? No, it's not. I forgot what that is. The shortcut. Shift T, you think? Okay, Shift T. Yes, it is. It is Shift T. Ah. Ooh, that is good. I just want Control Shift, Control Alt T. Okay, interesting. I'm just gonna bring this in the back somewhere like that. Okay. And let's duplicate that. D, D, let's do that. And let's give this a color. And this one another color. Let's do that. I don't know why I'm doing that, but you know, it still works. So, and one other thing that I always forget to do is setting my camera. Somewhere on there should do. Yep. Now let's work on the material itself. Let's go to the wall settings. Let's increase the strength. Of course, not that much. Why is lighting glass so hard? Let's do one thing. Let's add a cube. Let's scale this by, let's use Z1. Okay, no. Guess what I'm doing? I think we need that reflection. So yeah, I think this is it. Now let's go back to lighting. Also, let's do some materials. That's great. I hope your work yields some positive results. Yes, I hope too for Curtis. He's been dealing with some stuff. Let's see. Look at this. Why is this not looking good? Black glass. Wait, I have another theory. The theory might not work out. Instead, let's give this glass white color and roughness to be somewhere there. And it's probably I need to add volume. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? It's probably that's why. Let's not do any diffuse. What do you guys think? Did I just complete the whole thing? Okay, let's quickly work on. I'm gonna hide the cube because I don't think we need that anymore. It is display. It is like, what I was thinking. We can give it like a purple color as well. This is just the volume. The volume looks like subsurface scattering. That is interesting too, because look at that. That one, instead of doing volume, which is very computationally expensive, we could try doing the whole thing, this thing, and this. We could do that using. Wow, that's actually very interesting. Look at that. That one. What if we use this subsurface scattering right there, which is expensive? No idea. Somewhere there. And I'm thinking, not mix, add. Now I get it why this doesn't work. I totally realize why it doesn't work. We have that, but on top of that we need glass. What if I use glassy instead? This one and this one. And that one. Because it doesn't work that way as well, which is very interesting, very interesting. Let's do a little bit of, we don't need that. Let's do mix shader. I'm slightly playing around with this. Oh wow, okay, wow, that is something. Oh, look at that. In the edges we really have that beautiful looking obsidian material. That is very interesting. Let me just admire this for a bit, if that's okay. And also, that subsurface scattering looks very similar to the one here in Coke. If I keep this side by side, it does look similar in color. Don't go. That's not it. There's so much more I want to add to this. Uh, but this is interesting. Also, one thing that I want to try is how long does this take to render? Let's do some render tests. What do you think? Oh, wow, that is fast. That is 4,000 samples, by the way. That took me 13 seconds for 4,000 samples. Okay, wow. That is very interesting. Let's do this here. Let's go to the second slot. Let's also try the glass with volume shader. So let's do that also. This is a glass. Wait, what? Let's do that. Let's do volume. Principal volume. Yep, let's do that. Let's just do volume scatter. I'm putting 500 for some reason, but it's probably not that much. Less to 200 maybe, or 100 or 10. And let's decrease the roughness. Let's just add slight bit, just because okay, that gives some really bad artifacts. Let's go to the other side. I mean, I don't know which visually looks good. I want to see how different that is from each other, so I'm just rendering it. Okay, that is significantly slower, but not that bad. And since it is glass, I think realistically speaking, we can do that with volume, and that is how you're supposed to do, because it is a volume. But I personally feel, see, it's already, let's just let it render for 40-90 samples. And checking the chat. Any questions? And there's just 45 seconds, so 45 minutes of, sorry, 35 minutes. Yeah. It took 53 seconds and this took 13 seconds. We can see there's a lot of similarity, but then I personally like this one. I really love the light is bleeding through the edges. Because like in center, there's literally not that much difference if you see. I think the density that I'm using inside the glass texture will basically decide how much I have to use it, I guess. But I'm gonna stick with, for this particular one, I'm gonna stick with this one, the shader. So thinking about that, we can, instead of doing all this stuff, we can simply use principal BSDF. I don't know why I did that. So let's bring down the roughness and let's increase the subsurface. There's no subsurface scattering color, which is fine. Scale is set to 0.23. Way to 1. And let's give the subsurface color there. And the scattering color depends on the radius. So I'm going to keep this aside, but I'm going to use an RGB node instead to decide what color I want to pass. So let's do blue color. I think it'll give us, let's actually look what happens if we give blue color there. The edges, we have the blue spill. So what happens here? It does happen, but I think this is more realistic because we are not adding here, we are mixing it. So let's stick to principal shader for now, and we can next work on wow, there's so much detail here. I want to work on all that next because this is beautifully rendered by Enrico. I don't want to butcher the second name, but yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's quickly bring the values to more realistic values. I'm not gonna butcher anything. I'm not gonna remove this. So I'm just gonna move this all the way up so that I don't have to bother about that. And let's quickly organize this node setup. Technically, we haven't really done much in today's stream, but we already have a beautiful result which we can build upon. And we can stop it here, but I always want to push the essence of realism, so I'm gonna keep going. So that is one level of, let's do it without any multiplication. That is how it's gonna look. It's definitely too much, don't you think? It's definitely too much. Let's increase the detail to 5. Look at that. Multiplying that. Now that is making some really beautiful streaks here and there, but we have to leave just a tiny bit so that it's not totally gone. Let's do 0.95 so that there is a little bit of bleeding through the edges, but the shape itself still is retained. The next thing that I want to try is adding the surface detail. Like I said, this is very smooth, so we can go for this look, or else I think the one by Daniel Tiger has this beautiful looking iridescence. In the chat, I don't know if I can do a poll. Can I do a poll? Yeah, there's a poll. That's awesome. Or you know what? I should probably react to the chat more often. Let's look at the other one, which is smooth look. This one. Okay, let's start the poll and we can see the results. Hopefully you guys got the poll. Which one do you guys want to see? Everyone's looking for iridescence, which is amazing. Okay. To keep this a fair fight, I'm gonna show both of them together as well. Is it this one or this one? So, yep. The one with iridescence or the one with the smooth look. So, out of 13 people, we got 3 votes, and the 3 people chose iridescence. I'm gonna take a small tiny break so that I can complete this and we can start immediately. Wow. Okay, I think we'll do iridescence. 4 votes, iridescence, amazing, amazing. Of course, like I mean, I like iridescence as well, but just saying, I really wanted to see how the poll works. It would be nice if everyone can click on it. Okay. I'm going to end the poll in 2 minutes. Okay, that's done. Yes, I baited, I'm sorry. Okay, so this will be our this is I mean, if I'm going to do iridescence, I'm going to go a little bit more complicated with the technical terms, because I do have a way to do it, but the answer is wavelength. That's it. That's all I'm going to tell for now. How I'm going to do that is using facing. So that's in layer weight. Immediately you can see that cool looking Fresnel, right? Like if you can do that, we can, or else we can do using this one. I personally like Fresnel a lot more because like you can see when I invert it, that's where the magic happens. Except I think I have to use the blend to do a little bit more, I guess. I don't know if you can see that. Let's do Fresnel instead of Fresnel. Let's just get that. And we can change how this looks. Okay. The glass is around, I mean, water is around 0.35, but anyway, Let's try facing as well. What happens if I invert facing? Let's do that. Ooh, that's very interesting. What if I multiply these two? Fresnel minus. Look at this. I think this is perfect because, like, it's somewhere inside it. This is not realistic, by the way. This is all for the sake of the magic. Anyway, we have a gradient. I don't know if the gradient is correct or not. All I'm going to do is I'm going to use a map range node, and I'm going to map range it with the wavelength. 500 is around a green value, which is fine. So the visible range is around 400 to 700. So, or 300 to, I mean, depends. 300 to 700, I think. But let's see how that looks. Not here, through the wavelength node. That's it. We have iridescence. Except we can play around with this. We can do it smoother if we want, which looks like that. And some people might not like the look. We can invert it, but that is how it looks. And we can mix some noises, and we can use some bump stuff. We can decrease the values or increase the values to push our, you know. Oh wow, I use a very large unrealistic number there. Shame on me. Sorry. Um, let's do this somewhere around there. And also let's take a noise texture, and let's connect our trusty little scale node. And I'm gonna bring this down. Yeah, I think it's up to us, right? Like the direction of light, I don't know if I can actually get the direction of light separately per light. I don't know if it's possible. Maybe light path can do it. Hmm, but yeah, I don't know. Let's try some light paths as well. Why not? To be honest, like I feel like the light path is shadow diffuse glossy math greater than, not diffuse, transmission. There's also rate depth. Transmission depth. Not able to find the exact one. Any ideas, anyone? That will be good. I think I should do more research on light path. For now, let's just use this for now. I think that's okay. There's also a lot of surface imperfections. We should do that slowly as well. We have time. The time is just 48 minutes. Generally, I do stream for 2 hours. Um, so if you have any questions on the way, we can always chat. Let's do a math multiply quickly to get that look. Means sort of. Um, then we can always map range it to, like, we can tighten the values or like bring the value down to maybe 0.8. But yeah, like we can think about it. But for now, let's just leave it this way, and let's try to incorporate that in our shading workflow. Generally, when I do iridescence, I always add, I think it's glass, but I don't want to, I don't know. Glass is quite expensive to render, right? And we can always use a mix, I guess. I don't know if that's even correct. the mix is making it feel like it's inside, the transmission is inside. I'd probably do add instead. Probably not realistic at all, but let's use mix color here. Oh, we also have roughness that we can play around with. The colors are, is it any similar to that? Very interesting. If not glass, let's do glossy. Glossy has a different look, I feel. Let's do roughness to 0. This and this. Which one is better? We can try both, and whatever looks more pleasing, we can always go with that. For that, we need to do a mix shader. We can slightly blend it. Let's do quick render. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to do another slot. Give this a quick render and see how it looks. And also I want to keep an eye on, I need to keep an eye on the samples and the time. So previously it took us 13 seconds here. This one is taking 16 seconds. So technically not that much, but visually it's a lot different. I think, like you guys said, it's probably because, and also like we have constant roughness, which is probably not helping. So let's take this. Let's take our two height maps. I always do one thing. I always do an average of all the stuff. What this? Sorry. Add them and multiply this by 0.5. Sorry. And then we had this. Also, I think we can increase the detail to 5 here. I don't know if that'll do anything, but why not? Yeah, let's quickly check how that looks. Of course, it's gonna make it more, let's see with the cube. Let's do the denoise as well on top of this and remove the noise threshold, so we don't have to worry about any sample stuff. Okay, with the white stuff, that's probably not the best, so let's do BG. Let's make this something else, maybe. And let's also increase the roughness so that it doesn't really cast any light. Not light itself. It's all in the reflections, and this iridescence is actually happening where the light is going. So I thought this is interesting. Let's do this. This is for roughness, so I'm gonna do a map range and plug this directly with the roughness. And bring this value all the way up to 1.1, 0.2 maybe. And the low value to 0.6 or something. Let's not add any iridescence yet. Let's do some bump stuff. So all the iridescence, I'm gonna package this into another group. Control J. We have layer weight, we have Fresnel. I think we can do some good stuff with the normal here. So the way I think I want to do this is by taking inspiration from uh, the bevel node. The bevel node itself looks something like this, and the bevel normal workflow. Anyone, you guys are aware of that? So geometry has a normal which looks something like that, and we can plug the normal here, and this is how the bevel looks. There's a one way where we do cross product of both of them, which is this. I don't know if that did anything, but we can always increase the radius and see, and we can do a length which gives you that. Very interesting. But the other thing that I always do is try bump with bevel. I'll take this for bump. I'll use this one, which is like, you know, that. So that'll give you really good details, and then use that instead. Not the tangent, sorry. But actually, tangents, very interesting, very interesting. Let's do a color ramp. Oh god, not color ramp. Let's use a map range. I hate color ramps, if anyone is asking why. Wow. Yeah, Vishal, hi. Why map range instead of color ramp? Uh, Personal preference, I guess. Okay. Let's bring this all the way there. We can increase samples to 16. Honestly, that doesn't really add that much. It's technically just, we can increase the radius, I guess. Or else like the bump strength can also affect it. Let's get the bump strength high and distance maybe lower. I mean, that is basically like taking this one and doing a map range on that instead. Like this seems very unnecessary. And look at that. That one and this one. What's the difference? Should we do this? We could do it. But the problem is, should we? Hey Alex. In the first stream, Curtis asked Charan what his favorite node was. Yeah, my least favorite node is color ramp. Reason is it's really stupid. Like, I can give you 100 reasons why I hate color ramps. Look, we can add stuff, cool. And we can, redistribute it evenly, cool. Where is that? We can't get individual outputs of it. If color ramp had, every time you add a node, like for example, a new node, if it can dynamically add a second input right before this called, and if we can get the outputs, that would be amazing, right? And we can control everything. I would love color ramp. That will be my favorite node. That is the one thing that I would ask. Ah, and how dare you? Oh wow. Oh god, you stance of color ramp. Can't handle them. You're all brainwashed. Oh wow. But yeah, like I mean, it has an amazing like the reason why I don't like it that much because yeah, like it's not at its full potential. It has potential. Ah, wow. Don't clip me or anything, like this is fun. It's all lighthearted. It's all I'm gonna build an army of people who hates color and that'll be fun. Okay, let's quickly do this. Let's use a mix color. Let's use this one on top. Let's use this in the factor. We can give a different color here, but I don't think I would want to do anything. Maybe just a little color variation. Maybe we could do that. Yes, I think we should definitely do some petition for like color ramp improvements. Like that would be like it has such an amazing potential because it is probably the most visual node in the whole, like in the whole node system. Like look at it. Let me show you. I use mix RGBs and map ranges for whatever I need because I can show you why. Let me go open one of my scenes that I made. Look at this. This is a scene, right? Let's quickly add. Let's go back to. Look at this. I have only 3 colors, but there is more colors. So the reason being, I can't. If I go inside, it's all in these 2 nodes. It still looks good. We can do what color ramp could with one click. It also has potential because like if I just add a color ramp, let me just put this in rendered view. Let's add a color ramp in the converter. I'm gonna just press E. I can simply drag. Look at this. This is amazing. This is almost like as good as, but it's so unpredictable because we have 30 nodes now, right? We can't, to delete them, we have to select them individually. We can't select them like by bulk, like just by dragging. We can't do that. We can do that in Substance. We can do that in Houdini. In Houdini, ramps are the way to go. I always use ramps in Houdini, but in Blender, color ramp is very under. It has literally, like see, we can drag it out, which is amazing, but we can't select them. What's the point? We can, I mean, we don't, if people want it, it's fine. We should also like able to have like a drop down saying that expand, then it will expand into all the nodes and we can just use it. I'm sorry if I'm just ranting. I have so many complaints about color ramp. It is probably the best node, which is at its lowest, I feel. I also hate mix RGB, by the way. I'll tell you why. Not mix RGB itself, the float mix. It doesn't have any blend modes. I use the color blend modes, color option to do basic float blend modes, I don't know why. We should have all blend modes for all types, basically. Like it only makes sense to have blend modes for the color type, but float is also color with 3 different channels being equal, right? Like why not? Why don't we just yeah, that is one sad thing. It's just a linear interpolation. Instead of doing that, we can simply have used map, like mix RGB, like map range. It's literally the same node. I don't know what's the point of creating a float. Wow, this is perfect. But yeah, it had potential, but no one's using it, so that's why I hate it. But anyway, that's the most visual node as well. But yeah, that's it. Let's go back to Obsidian. Hopefully nothing is lost. It still looks beautiful, so that's a win. And let's add some imperfections. The iridescence, we can think about how to add that. Oh wow, yes, it hurt me so much, especially because like I can't what do you call it, I can't group it, like I want to change its colors dynamically, but we can't. But yeah, that's the only reason why I hate it. especially for people who does node groups a lot, having color ramps, like, yeah, having color ramps as will just limit your workflow, I feel. But anyway, and then I open Curtis's node groups that he makes. It's just filled with color ramps. I'm like, why? I'm sorry, Curtis. I'm really sorry. It's just funny. It's just funny how sometimes how far I go about color ramps. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I'm just ranting about it because it's funny, but yeah. Oh no, sorry. I think glossy is not the way to go. I think glass is the way to go. Oh wow, the IR actually makes it different. Okay, let's play with that, maybe. Let's add, but let's only add 10% of it. But yeah, I think yeah, let's think about iridescence later because I still have to figure out why and how I can layer them properly. Should I just use a mixed color instead, like this, and plug this directly there? Oh, sorry. I use wavelength because, like, it is a correct way to do it, but to be honest, this is I'm coming back to it. The best thing I can do is like use a color ramp. Just go to HSV. Let's do far. Make this red and this one to green, blue. Just make this green. Yep. I don't know if this will. What I've put here? It's definitely not the same. Of course, it's not the same. But then I think you just use a math multiply. What if I say I actually prefer this rather than this? Will you guys get angry? That'll be so funny. Like rants about color ramp for half an hour and then use this color ramp in the workflow. That'll be so hilarious. There it is. Yeah, I think this is matching the colors more better. Oh, this is so funny. I can't. Oh, wow. Let's try this. If this looks good, I'm so sorry. I love color ramps from now. Except it, uh, I think I should do screen instead. That's too much actually, sorry. Let's do add and let's put this slightly. The reason is it looks like the heat stuff, it doesn't look like iridescence itself. Let me just Google like how people do iridescence in Blender. There are people who have done some really good tutorials, so it would be nice. But I still think this has potential. because this is more rainbowy, which I like. But yeah, any suggestions? I would like to take some. Look, it looks so metal. It doesn't look like glass. That is... Hmm. And it also looks like the rainbow, which is... Let me go... Let me quickly see how people have done iridescence. So they used light path, which is interesting. Oh, that is some clever trickery. I'll tell you how they did it. So basically, yeah, that's awesome. See you soon, Curtis. That is really amazing because they use lighting to simulate the iridescence rather than using the material itself. I never thought about it. Wow. So quote unquote, like that'll basically, I think that is probably the, yeah, wow. I never thought about it. Let's do this. Let's add an area lamp. GZ. Let's just place it there. Let's go to use nodes. You know, I'm gonna show the lights as well. Is that it? Why is it not visible yet? Okay. Any idea? There's also another one. Iridescence is lighting, so what if they just simply use an emission instead? I have another theory. Since it is lighting, instead of doing this, can I simply add it as an emission node? I mean, definitely not gonna work. Let's bring this there. Nah, I think lighting is the way to go because it looked beautiful, the render. So I'm gonna use that technique. It does feel like it's lighting, so let's yeah, before that, let's quickly organize everything. Look at that. The lighting, that is the light. I think that's what's adding it. What do you guys think? Like that is some random color though. Like what if I, look at that. I'm just like projecting light on it. I think we just found out like that's the best way. Wow. That is little, that is very interesting actually. So now like David said, it is light direction. That's actually adding it. So since it's using UV coordinates, all we can do is go back to the node, collect our map range and wavelength, these two things. Select that and paste it here. and separate XYZ and use that here and this one there. Voila. Yep, we did it. We have iridescence. What do you guys think? But yeah, like of course we can, change the power, everything, like how strong you want that, like how big you want that. But yeah, I think the general gist is basically that. Let's do 2 here, like maybe 1. Let's just leave it just like that. But yeah, we have iridescence as well, which is amazing. Let's quickly clean things up. So I'm gonna delete this, and since we have that figured out, let's change this to smooth F1 again, and let's just slightly give this a value of 0.5. And again, I think this is where we can use the power of shading, because I can keep some places smooth and some places sharp using a noise. So we can use a map range node and separate this. Actually, let's use the red channel here. And I think the values are from 0.3 to 0.8, I think. And let's do smoother step. And let's give this from 0 to 0.5. Yeah, this will basically give us a smooth Voronoi in some places and sharp Voronoi in other. I don't know if you can see that. It'll definitely be visible, like places like this and everything, which is amazing. You can also like increase the smoothness here, of course. I can show you like that. You see, there it is smooth over there, and then suddenly it becomes sharper. So I think that is fun. Let's keep it that way, but let's do 0.5 instead, so we don't have too much of that. Weirdly enough, this is pretty straightforward. Let's do detail of 1, and we can bring down the roughness to just a tiny bit like that. I don't know if that helps, but yeah, like look at this and that, they are very similar. So I think I'll just use that. That's not a big deal, I feel. Just a tiny bit of roughness, because roughness is basically how the second layer is actually adding upon each other. So I think that looks cool. What if I hide this? Let's not hide. I think I like it that way. Like I like the light is blocking there. And also I want to try something else, which is this light. Linear interpolation is fine. Looks like that. Let's do a 2. Let's do a 2 here as well. I don't know. What do you guys think? Still good, honestly. Not bad, not bad. It all comes down to lighting. And now we can give different colored lights again. I mean, that should have been the case from the start anyway. Okay, the next thing is I want to give more surface imperfections. Let's quickly work on that. I'm going to delete this. We don't need that. We don't need that. And this itself is not really necessary, so we can delete that. We are still keeping the node setup pretty clean so far, and the map range values are realistic. And the next good thing, like the next big thing that I want to do is give a really fine noise on top of everything, because if I go to another render, look at this, you have tiny bumps everywhere, and that one we can simulate by only adding a finer noise on top of everything. So let's do that. The way I'm gonna do that is by using our distorted coordinates, and this will be 500 or 1000. Yeah, 1000 is fine. Map range, and the values will be around 0.3, 0.1 to 0.8, or 0.2 to 0.8. Because if you zoom in, it comes from 0 to 1 perfectly. So I'm going to take this. Now I'm going to use a bump instead of, sorry, bump. Let's do that. Perfect, perfect. And the distance has to be very, very tiny. I'm going to go really small and just plug it right there. Let's see how this looks. We can probably increase the distance to 0.1, and that will definitely break everything. So let's go back. Let's give 0.001 instead. And now you can tell how rough it got. And so immediately I'll come down, decrease the detail to 0, and roughness to 0. Since there is a clamp, let's increase the this one to 0.3. Maybe a little bit more, like 0.5. Yeah, to give that maybe. And let's do invert, because I want them to be dense rather than, since we are doing that, we can also increase the detail to 2 so that it's more rougher, like 5. Okay, that's okay. Now let's bring down the strength to 0.1 or something. Now look at that surface and this surface. They're really, really similar, and I really like that. That is how I actually look at my references and try to replicate them. It's always good to have references, but end of the day, it's up to us, like how we would like to do it. I don't mind having removing the iridescence, because it still looks really beautiful without that. And the next thing I want to try is give surface breakup, like everything is super, super crispy. I want to just eat that away a little. So how I want to do that is probably using a Voronoi texture, but smooth, large, and chipped. So to get that, I'm gonna duplicate the not duplicate anything, just add another Voronoi. Where's Voronoi? Oh, sorry, I did BO, not do that, and change this to smooth. Let's go to color and let's give a value of 200 here. See that chipping is amazing. I'll tell you why. We already have this distance, which will give you a mask of the height. So I'm going to take that. Actually, I can duplicate this just like that and change this to distance to edge. Now I'll have the edge mask immediately without any struggle. Did I just, oh god, I just splattered everywhere, sorry. Just subtract from 1 maybe. Before that, let's just multiply this. See, now I have that. I'm going to separate this color. I'm just going to use this here. You see how chippy that looks? That's exactly what I'm planning. Now I can increase this all the way up to there. Now the edge is chipped. That is the look that I'm going for. So now I can use that to subtract from the given, but it's everywhere, right? Like that is what I have to plan now. Instead of multiply, we can also clamp this, of course, but let's use a map range. Point 0.5 maybe. 1 0 0 1. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Okay, let's do math multiply. Let's do 10 again. Let's clamp this. And let's also use the noise, which is not that. Let's see, which noise are we looking for? Is it this noise? That's too small. So then we probably need another noise. So I'm just going to duplicate one more and change this to 3 maybe, or 5, 7. We just need something. And let's do the same map range here. I'll just use a math multiply. Now let's take this, put this right there. Just connect this to the second socket and just do subtract. Where is that? And subtract right there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's definitely there. Before that, let's just give it a quick render. It's been a while since I did some rendering to see how it looks. What do you guys think about this Obsidian anyway? I kind of feel it's looking good. But it definitely can have. Let's also look at the amount of time it's taking now. It's definitely taking longer because our node is pretty complex now. Also it has to calculate a lot of bounces. So it's taking about 40 seconds. And this is a 1K render. That is really pathetic. Let's do. Wait, that's not what I expected. Let's go a little zoom in, maybe. Somewhere about there. And let's hide this. Let's do a plane. And let's have a null color. Let's call this nil. Let's change this to emission. Change this to 0. Alpha has to be 1, sorry. And it has to go inside our it's just using for blocking, so we just want to block light from somewhere. Look at that. Now that is good. So the cube is gone. This is better in my opinion, and this needs background, so let's x90 gy there, scale this up. Now just look at that. Ooh, beautiful. Now let's quickly add some procedural shaders for the background. So let's give that a BG material, and we can do some pretty cool stuff with that. Also, the best thing that I can do is add a point light right at the center. Let's do right here, light point gy there. Let's go to the lighting session. Can you see it? Now the point light can be bright as hell, and we can color it anything that we want. Let's look at how they rendered it. They probably rendered it as an alpha, and then they did some compositing later on, which is true. But they just put this in the black so that they have a really good rim light around it, which is a great idea as well. We can do that. So for now, let's try to follow what the masters did, because I really want some pretty render as well. So I'm gonna delete the point light. I'm gonna delete the background, and I'm gonna put this nil. Let's Shift D, press N, clear all the rotations to 0. Just change this to Y to 90, and just scale this up. Now we have a nil background with a pretty black surface. So the best way we can do now is just duplicating the lights around to give a pretty decent rim lighting. Shift D, let's point it in this direction. Oh, that is beautiful. Shift D. Let's also increase the size just ever so slightly so that we can get that glimpse. And let's do Shift D on the other side as well. Okay, Shift D to just get that. Oh wow, that is looking tasty. But yeah, like now let's play with some procedural values. So here is one thing that I always thought. We can add another, like for rendering purposes, we can just add another cube, scale about there. Now let's add volume to this. Like, I don't know, separate like principal to volume. I don't know, I thought this will always work, so it will work, but then the only problem is let's use separate XYZ and plug that to the density. I think the Z1 to the density. I think that's where it got its, let's use texture coordinate of course, and generated math subtract from 1 and use a power. Where's power? Yep, there it is. Just give that foggy and I don't know if that looks good or not, but it's definitely looking nice, right? I don't know, but I think it looks cool. Okay, let's give a different color so that it looks ominous. The rendering is gonna be super expensive now that I've added volume. Let's quickly look at the sphere. Let's call this Obsidian. Let's call the second cube volume. First cube, what did I use it for? As a background, so I'm going to delete that. Oh, sorry. That doesn't look bad, but I don't want to have that. And the plane as light block. Second plane as light block as well. Let's put these two in a new collection. Light block. And in lights, we are not using the third light. What is this doing? The iridescence light. So let's call this Iri. And then let's organize the stuff. Obsidian camera volume. Perfect. We already have it. The entire thing won't look uniformly displaced. Yes, that is the next thing. I want to play with the values to see if I can, you know, get anything nicer. But the only problem is like I want it to look Voronoi because we are trying to put this on a surface, right? Like think about it. If you have like not the sphere, but let me see. Let's do Obsidian. Let's add another Voronoi. Put it there. I have a pretty interesting idea, if you may call it. Let's take one Voronoi and use a second Voronoi as a mask using a noise to add that. I don't know if that'll do anything, but that should be pretty interesting. Okay, let's take this, plug it there. I think here is where we added the first one, so just plug this one on the second socket, this one on the first socket. What the hell is that? Oh wow, that is looking very interesting. I actually want to render that and see if that looks. This is our render. Let's do another render. It looks cool. Like don't get me wrong. Like it's very interesting. Like I never seen anything like that before. Also, my camera is pretty. Okay, subtract is not what I wanted. I wanted to do some mix, but it just looked too good not to try. So let's quickly cancel this. Okay, I don't like it that much, but it's looking weird. Let's go to modeling. Obsidian again. Let's do a mix. Let's do multiply. Let's do 3. Let's do 3 here as well. Let's do 1. That is looking promising. Oh, that looks beautiful actually. How does it look with the iridescence? Huh. Since it's too smooth. I don't know, mixing is the best way to do this, but probably I think I should use a noise texture. So I'm gonna just duplicate the first noise, which is really small, plug it there, and just call this a day maybe. Map range, do this. Oh wow, that is looking weirdly pleasing. Let's add a vector math scale node here. Let's do 2 maybe. It definitely lost its impression. For now, I think it's better if we just stick to what we had before, and I'll try to add more later to it. What do you guys think? Like, it is a clean looking Obsidian all by itself. Um, but yeah, I don't want to gamble anything, to be honest. I mean, we can do this maybe next time. Let's do 1 scale. Also, we need a vector math add. Let's do Z for the animation as well. That looks amazing. One other thing I really want to see here is the mixing that we did before, I think. Is that, where was that? Yeah, here, the 0.5. That is okay. This is okay. Noise is okay. Is it this one? Yeah, this one. Now that we did this, yeah, with more detail, we got like more interesting. Honestly, it's not bad. But yeah, let me quickly do a render. Before I do the render, I think I need to go into, let's do texture bounce, display to bounce. Yeah, that is beautiful. I just want to place it in a very pleasing way. And I'm gonna make this pure white because I want the transition. And 300 is might be too strong, but I think it's fine. It looks like Obsidian, so no questions asked. Let's give this a quick render and then we'll group this to call this a day. What do you guys think? But then, like you guys said, it's definitely, there's room for improvement, and I want to try, but it's almost getting to 2 hours and I haven't really, you know, done much here. Feels like. So it should be fun. Okay, let's see. 1 hour 45 minutes is not bad. I'm letting it render all the way because now that we had volume, it's too noisy, and I think the denoiser will take care of it, but just want to see how long that it takes as a, you know, it might take a minute or two, which is interesting. I think it's definitely an overkill, so let's not do that. Wow. Let's go to compositing, use nodes, um, denoise. Let's also do, wait, is the GPU on here? Yeah, that's on. Perfect. And denoising data. Accurate is fine. Let's look at the viewer node. And this is where I'm gonna go. Thank you. Thank you so much. It looks awesome. Image save as. Let's call this obsidian.png. I remember like thinking about Obsidian long time ago, like probably a year or two, and I always got like, I mean, the reference that we have, right? Like they are highly, what to call it, like subsurface scattering workflow. So, they change the colors. They use a thickness model um, because, and it looked better because it's artistically, it looks deliciously good. Not to eat it, but don't eat it. But yeah, like just looking for realism, I think what we have done is pretty decent. Definitely there is room for improvement, which I will work on. But we have 10 more minutes, so let's quickly wrap it up as node. Yep, that's fine. Before that, I'm just gonna go to the scene one because I have a nice compositing network here. This one. I'm gonna copy it. I don't know if it'll come, but Obsidian material compositing. Paste it. Yep, it doesn't work. Oh man. What I'm gonna do is instead I'm gonna go back. Scene one. Gonna group this all into one setup. All I need is this one. This one is the overlay mix. Yeah, perfect. I just want this one. I'm gonna call this grain, film grain. And I actually love this node. Oh god, sorry. Lucky for me. I never did any compositing trees, so that is fun. Overlay, so let's use this as intensity. Threshold, yep, let's do that as well. And I think this is all I need. Everything else I can sort of get it. So let's import it. Let's append. It's not link, sorry. I want to append it. File append. Let's do film grain. Where is that? It's inside my Tile Master Pro. Let me also check messages. Yeah, I'm trying to append it, but the thing is, I don't think compositor nodes come. So I don't know, and I'm kind of curious if that's actually if that actually works. So shots, scene 1, groups, notary, film grain, there it is. Group film grain. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna quickly render this again, but I'm gonna change the render settings accordingly. So for everyone to see it, I'm gonna put the samples around 500 this time. Don't want to do anything extra. And the denoise, I don't want to do it here. I want to do it in the compositor, light, advanced, light paths. Let's do full global illumination. Because I don't really care. I don't think it'll take that long. Imagine if it actually takes so long. It'll be funny as hell. Yeah, not bad to be honest. 30 seconds for everything is a pretty good deal. Okay, so for film grain to work, we have grain image. Luckily, it's actually getting appended. So if I look inside, there is grain, which is perfect. Before that, let's quickly check how this looks. The threshold is set to 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this as an output so that I can see it. Let's not clamp anything, maybe. Maybe what if I clamp? Yeah, clamp should be the way to go probably. The intensity is to 0. Let's do all the way up to 1. Now you see how that looks. That's a colored version, so I'm gonna quickly bring down the intensity to 0.3. And I think it actually looks pretty good. 0.25. This is a new workflow that I did. Like, let's place this, and chromatic aberration is very important. So lens distortion. Sorry, lens distortion. Fit. Let's do slightly lower. Actually, dispersion is what I wanted to check. If I go all the way up to 1, yeah, that is dispersion. So this is exactly what I wanted. Dispersion here is radial, so I think 0.2 should do it. 0.2 V, and then distortion to 0.0, the 0.02 maybe. And this one to dispersion 0.01. That should be NF. Lucky me, it actually looks pretty decent. Film grain is a pretty good node. I think I should start grouping my compositing nodes because I don't know why I never do that. But yeah, let's do some rendering results. I can see the compositor doing this stuff. Okay, that's true, but I think we need to do some. Sorry, compositor. Let's go to film grain. Let's look at the scale. Render size maybe. Fit. Okay, I see what I did. It's gotta be 1 1 1 1. Look at that. Transform, scale. Oh, okay, very interesting. Let's bring down to 0.5 maybe. Scene size. Okay, so I think we should do value, not the offset, sorry, scale, scale, and scale. Yep, this is it. So scale. So I'm gonna do this. This is fine. Multiply is fine. Let's put the scale on top. Intensity on the second. Threshold on the third. There's something else I wanted to check. RGB or BW. So BW. So let's do that. Let's look how that looks. Scale to 2. Default value is 2. RGB to BW. What if I absolute all this? That should be interesting as well. So let's do another mix. And let's do a math node. Round. Let's do the factor to 0. Put this here. Put this in between. Change this to round. Perfect. Now the factor is called RGB slash BW switch. Sorry if I'm doing something different rather than usual. Now I can go to black and white and increase intensity already. I can do color, which is amazing. The only problem is I can't change the blend mode. Scale, I can do it 3 instead. Intensity to 0.2. Select the viewer and bring this all the way up. Let's look at that. Yeah, 0.3. This is fine. Save this. Let's do 0.25. Okay, what else can we do? This is a pretty good film grain node, so I think I'll show the viewer. Honestly, I shouldn't be surprised. That's all right. Let's look at this. It's amazing, actually. This is how we had it. Now this is how we changed it just by slight tweaks. I think I should start implementing these film grain and all the other stuff. Let's do a CC, not color correction, grade. Oh, glare actually. Let's do that. Wow. Color mix. What the hell is that? Color mix. Okay, mix. Let's call it up to -1. I think that is also too much. 0.05, and let's do high quality fog glow. Let's give just a tiny bit of that as well. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, that's too much. So 0.7, 0.6. Yeah, that is pretty decent. And then finally, let's do the film grain after everything rather than before. So, and what was the other thing that I wanted to do? Sorry, just give me a second. Let's see, color correction. So that has to happen before this and before glare shower. Yeah, color correction. And yeah, which color management did I use? None. Oh no, Punchy looks bad. Of course it looks bad because we did not render in that workspace. Let's stop it here. That's fine. But yeah, let's do CB color balance. Control Z. Gamma. Gain. Of course. Let's just slightly decrease the gamma. And we'll lose details. So again, but let's do a slight warm tint. Interesting. And shadows, let's do a slight blue tint. Not that much, but let's do just a tiny bit. And yeah, we have to just decrease this as well. That's too much. Honestly, it's good. I think I'm going to stop it right here. Let's look at the rendered viewer result. Yeah, this should do it. Image save as Obsidian composited comp. And finally, let's go back to our shading. Click on our node. Before I do anything, I'm just going to duplicate everything. And yeah, let's do this. Click everything, Control G, press N for the group. Let's place a BSF on top. Let's call this vector is fine. Let's hide that. Scale, let's do that. And combine XYZ. Math round do that to 0. Let's give this a value of 0. Let's call this seed. And I think it will only do in a span of multiply of 4. So that should be fun. And then let's click on this. Voronoi scale. No. What is it called? Yeah, I think I should do distortion separately. You know what? Let's not use this here. Let's do this 5. Let's call this shape scale. And let's do this distortion scale. And then distortion amount. And I'm gonna do map range here, of course, 0 to 0 0.5. It should be 0 0.5, 0.5, yeah. 0 to 1, that is okay. And the default value is going to be distortion amount. And the default value is going to be 0 0.2. And let's also change this here, 0 0.2. Obsidian shader. Control H. And then we should also have other things. So let's combine X, Y, Z. Sorry, let's do group input. Where's roughness? Yep. Roughness min, max. Let's quickly add a panel. Call this roughness. This one to min. This one to max. And I'm going to make this a factor. 0 to 1. Max again. Factor. 0 to 1. The default will be 0.25. 0.25. Yep, that's cool. Let's look how that looks instead. Okay, why doesn't that look like how I want it to? Okay, there's gotta be shape scale is at 7. This has to be 7. Shape scale, let's do 5 instead and see if that looks any good. Oh, that looks amazing actually. Scale X. That seems good actually. So let's look at that. Let's do 5. Scale as 5. Subtype, absolute, factor, percentage, all doesn't matter. Okay, all this I don't think I'd care. Finally, math divide scale on the second, the scale here. I'm gonna make this 0.2, and this will be displacement amount. So there you go. Displacement amount, and let's add a new panel called distortion. Let's put distortion scale and distortion amount. This may not the roughness, not there, sorry, here, and max below that. And then shape shape control, let's add another panel. scale, shape scale, displacement, seed. Let the seed be on top, doesn't really matter. Scale, let's be on top as overall scale. Reason I'm giving this two different scales, like overall scale can increase, shape scale can also increase. That's distortion, sorry. Oh, that looks amazing actually. The subsurface scale can actually impact, so sub base color, I'm gonna put that. Subsurface color has to be a thing, so let me give the default as this. Bump surface color. And I'm going to save this. Base color, subsurface color will be on top. I think that's it. If I can improve upon this later, definitely. I'm gonna give another quick render. That looks beautiful. I think we are done for today. It's again 2 hours, 15, 20 minutes for a good shader. It's not bad. The iridescence came from the, what is it called? From, oh wow, that looks amazing. Only trouble is the glow is little too much. Gonna make it little bit less. Yeah, that seems fine. Rendering viewer node. Let's save this image, save as Obsidian comp 2. Yeah, that's it. So it's been a really good stream, guys, and I enjoyed a lot. Tomorrow let's meet up for another material. So that's it for now. I'll see you guys later. Bye.